Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm just not a language person? You're not alone, and I hear it all the time from my colleagues when I talk about how I'm studying languages for fun. What if I told you, you're right to think that the people that know how to speak several languages are different? Just not the way that you think. If you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Nick. I've been studying Portuguese for 7 years. I'm currently learning French as my fourth language, and I hope to move on to a fifth by the end of the year. In this video, I'll walk you through the key differences between you and polyglots, so that you can use this knowledge to build up your own language learning program that becomes more effective for every language that you learn without you having to change a thing. Polyglots, they spend time training their memory. You might think that memory is just something you're born with, but here's the fascinating truth. It's a skill you can train. When polyglots seem to pick up words effortlessly, it is not because they're naturally gifted, they've just spent more time exercising their memory muscles, so to speak. Think of it like training for a marathon. You don't start by running 42 kilometers, you build up gradually, and your endurance improves with each session. Memory works the same way. There's a reason we have memory championships where regular people perform extraordinary feats. They've trained their brains through consistent practice, and polyglots aren't special. They've just been putting in the reps, with their memory training longer than most. Polyglots start seeing languages differently. Languages are some of the world's most complex systems. But here's the fascinating part. Every time you master one system, the next becomes easier to understand. Think of it like solving puzzles. The more puzzles you solve, the better you get at recognizing patterns and solutions. When learning languages, your brain naturally starts looking for patterns. While this pattern recognition process might be slow with your first foreign language, it accelerates dramatically with each new language you learn. Let me share a personal example. I currently speak 4 languages, including 2 Romance languages, and because of this foundation, if I decided to learn Spanish or Italian, I'd likely pick them up much faster since I can recognize familiar patterns from French and Portuguese. But here's the interesting part. You don't have to stick to similar languages, even when learning a completely different language family, like going from Romance languages to Slavic or Asian languages. Your pattern recognition skills still apply. You might notice how different languages handle concepts like present tense, word order, or pronunciation. These differences themselves become memorable patterns. For instance, if you know that in Japanese, the verb always comes at the end of the sentence, unlike in English, that distinct pattern actually helps you remember and internalize the structure more easily. Polyglots also use the same resources over and over again. One of the quickest ways to learn new languages is to do something that you've already done before, but in the language that you're trying to learn. Every time that I start learning, I will be going through content that I already know. This gives me context that I can use to pick up more new words and systems. This natural testing method is incredibly effective. When you repeatedly encounter words and concepts in different contexts while reading, your brain automatically tests and reinforces your knowledge. Each time you successfully understand a word or phrase in a new context, it strengthens your grasp of the language. While traditional memorization methods like flashcards work well for some learners, others find them draining and prefer a more natural approach. I like to use 3 different categories of content when I test myself, and they all work for slightly different things. The last one is my favorite. So I love sitting down with a good video game, but I also know that not every game is going to be helpful for language learning. So I have gone through a bunch of games that I know, and I've decided on a few that I can really sink a bunch of hours into. That will also help in teaching new languages. If you're interested in seeing what games I found to be the most helpful, and how you can find games that suit your taste while still teaching a lot, then stick around on the channel, as that is one of the next videos that I'm making. I'm also currently playing through a randomized version of an old Pokemon game that I do on stream, playing every single Sunday. So feel free to jump into that, and you can see firsthand how effective it actually is.
Why?
Watching shows is probably the most low effort studying that you can do, because all you have to do is sit back and then enjoy yourself. Sure, you're not going to end up learning everything, but especially for those lazy days where you can't really be bothered with doing something that is high effort, it's nice to just sit down with a series and just watch a few episodes of it. For some people, it also works really well to get into the mode of studying, and then they can move on to more high effort methods after they've watched an episode. In my last video, I talked about how language learning is a marathon and not a sprint. This also means that the most important thing is that you continue making progress rather than always doing things the most efficient way. If all you're able to do in a day is to watch an episode or two of your favorite show in your target language, then that's okay sometimes. I have a list of books that I read through, and I know these books so well that I can learn way more from the context that the books provide than I would from books that are the same level of complexity that any other teacher could suggest for me, just because I've read them so many times. I know what books I need to start with to eventually be able to read anything in my target language, and I can take it at the pace that's perfect for me. Just be aware that in the beginning, you're going to be reading very slowly. The speed will pick up as you get more comfortable, and this is completely normal. If you want my list for the books that you should be reading, or how to find the books that are going to teach you any language you might want to learn, then watch this video next.